Hey guys, I guess I'm late again, but welcome back to the channel. So, in the last video, we were discussing Act 3, Scene 1, and we were discussing the conversation between Macbeth and Banquo. And continuing that very sequence, we will be discussing the soliloquy of Macbeth from this act in this video. So, without wasting your time, let's get into it. Now, I will tell you what a soliloquy is. Soliloquy is basically when a character on stage they speak aloud their thoughts. They're alone on stage, or they they get aside thoda alag se, they move to a corner, and then they speak their thoughts aloud. And what is the purpose of it? That the writer wants to tell you what is going on in the head of the character, or what the character is plotting, or anything like that. So it's a very good way of conveying such things, because it is coming directly from the person himself or herself. So soliloquy is a very great literary technique. And in this soliloquy, this is a cue. So in this soliloquy, Macbeth says, "To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus." So he says that it is of no significance to become a king by such wrong and unjust and wicked methods when I cannot secure my throne. When there's a high possibility that it will be taken away from me. Our fears in Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. So he says that our fears of Banquo are deeply rooted. There is a lot of reason to be afraid of his king like composure and dignity. So he is a person of high morals, dignity. He is very calm. He has the demeanor of a king. So there is great cause that I should be afraid of him. This much he dares, and to that dauntless temper of his mind, he hath a wisdom that doth guide his valour to act in safety. So he is a man of high spirits. He is very courageous. He has a temper which is not, which is an he has an unconquered temper. So he is very courageous. He is not afraid of anything. And on top of that, it's not that he will act irrationally or out of emotions. He's also very wise. So it's a deadly combination, to be wise and courageous both. So that is what he considers Banco to be a rival and to be a superior person. There is none but he whose being I do fear. So there is no one else but him, there is no one else but he whose being over here scares me. I am scared that my throne will be taken away by his descendants. And under him my genius is rebuked, as it is said, Mark Antony's was by Caesar. So in front of Banquo, my my personality and my virtues, they seem very they do not seem so powerful. They seem nothing in front of Banquo. So Banquo's personality overshadows me, just as Mark Antony, his personality was overshadowed by Caesar. Now Mark Antony was a Roman general, and his real name was Marcus Antonius, and he was a politician and a political rival to Caesar. Caesar over here does not mean Julius Caesar. Caesar over here means Octavius or Augustus Caesar. and both of them were rivals after the death of Julius Caesar. Both of them fought a civil war uh, in order to in order to gain the control of Rome. Okay, so just as Mark Antony, his personality was overshadowed, his virtues were overshadowed, his genius was overshadowed by Caesar. In the same way, my genius is overshadowed by Banco. But it is more than this, more than the fact that Banco might actually be superior in personality, in morals, in virtues as compared to Macbeth. Why is Macbeth actually scared of Banquo is because when the witches made the prophecy for Macbeth, they also simultaneously made a prophecy for Banquo. And the prophecy was that Banquo's descendants will acquire the throne. They will rule. And what will they rule? Most possibly, they will rule the very land they live in. So they will rule Scotland. And now whose throne is in danger? Macbeth's. Because his throne will be taken away by someone other than his own flesh and blood. He chid the sisters when they first put the name of king upon me and bade them speak to him. So he sort of scolded the sisters. He asked them, why are you only prophesying about Macbeth? Prophesize about me as well. The sisters, the witches. And he told them to tell his prophecy as well. Then, prophet like, they hailed him father to a line of kings. So they made a prophecy like as a prophet, just as a prophet makes such prophecies. In the same manner, the sisters made the prophecy that Banquo, even though he will not become the king himself, his descendants will rise to the throne. So he will become a father to a line of kings. So his descendants will become kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown. Now see, these 4 lines are very important because they show greed, they show ambition, they show dissatisfaction. क्योंकि ऐसा है ना, और सबसे बड़ी बात ये है ना, this gives you a lesson. If you acquire things by wrong means, you will always be scared that those things, that power, that position that you've acquired, it will slip away from your hand. क्योंकि जब आप कोई चीज़ गलत तरीके से एक्वायर करते हैं तो आपके अंदर कहीं ना कहीं गिल्ट और फियर दोनों रहता है. सो इन द सेम मैनर, Macbeth is also full of fear. He's also somewhat full of guilt. And then there is the prophecy which says that Banquo's descendants will rule. So he says that the witches, even though they declared me king of Scotland, future king of Scotland, and this actually happened as well, but they placed a fruitless crown on my head. This crown is useless if it cannot pass to my own flesh and blood. So their prophecy has become useless to me and put a barren scepter in my grip. So if you see the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II, okay, Google her coronation pictures and you will see there is a rod that she is holding in her hand. So that rod is what is called a scepter, and that scepter is a symbol of sovereignty, power and authority of a monarch. किसी भी राजा को क्या चाहिए? अपने जो उसकी प्रजा है उसको रूल करने के लिए उसको पावर चाहिए, है ना, उनके ऊपर अथॉरिटी चाहिए कि जो वो कहे वो माने, और सॉवरेनिटी, इंटरनल एंड एक्सटर्नल, कोई उसकी पावर को चैलेंज ना करे. तो यही है आपका स्केप्टर. ठीक है, तो वो कहते हैं कि ये तो बैरन, इट्स अ बैरन स्केप्टर इन माई ग्रिप दैट द विचेस हैव प्लेस्ड, विच मीन्स माई क्राउन, माई स्केप्टर, माई अथॉरिटी, माई थ्रोन, it is all useless, fruitless, because my descendants will not acquire the throne. Thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, so that scepter will be violently snatched away from me by someone who is not my own descendant, who is not my own family, not my own flesh and blood. Basically, descendant, over here. No son of mine succeeding. So, there in paraphrasing, I've come across the point that Macbeth does not have a son, which is again a cause of fear. But since I am not sure of that point, so I will you can google it. There is a mention of that on various sources, even the books, the paraphrasing books, the books containing the paraphrases. But you can also take it as that, since the prophecy will only the prophecy says that the descendants of Banquo will acquire the throne, and obviously they will acquire the throne of the kingdom in which they live, most probably that is Scotland. So in that case, how will if they will acquire the throne, then how will Macbeth's descendants acquire the throne? If it be so, for Banquo's issue have I filed my mind. So have I corrupted, have I dirtied my mind with such schemes and plots and murders, only for Banquo's children to ascend to the throne. For them, the gracious Duncan have I murdered. So, see, gracious Duncan. Duncan was a good king after all, because his own murderer is claiming, he is saying that he was a gracious man. So, the murder of Duncan was not rightful in any manner. So, he says that, and it was purely out of greed and ambition. So he says that I have murdered the gracious Duncan. For what? For the sons of Macbeth to ascend to the, for the sons of Banquo to ascend to the throne. Put rancors in the vessel of my peace, only for them. So I have destroyed my peace. I have corrupted my mind, only for the descendants, only for the sons of Banquo to become kings, to ascend to the throne, to ascend to the throne, to the position of the king. And mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man. So eternal jewel means soul. So have I sold my soul to the common enemy of man? Have I sold my soul to Satan, just so that eventually the throne falls into the lap of the descendants of Banquo, to make them kings, the seeds of Banquo kings? So why have I done all of this? So that the sons of Banquo become kings? Rather than so, come fate into the list and champion me to the utterance. Who's there? So, rather than this happening, I challenge fate itself to come into the arena and fight me. What is the significance of the soliloquy? Now, this soliloquy gives you an idea about the upheaval that is caused in the mind of Macbeth, because he has acquired the throne through wrongful means. So now he is in a constant state of fear that his throne will fall into the hands of someone else, because he hasn't acquired the throne through rightful means, or it was not rightfully his. And then second thing is because he feels that not just his actions, but the prophecy, the destiny itself wanted him to become the king. So, if that is so, then the prophecy also wants Banquo's children to become kings. So, he is challenging fate now. He does not want that to happen. We will see. We see through this soliloquy that he is a very greedy, ambitious man, over ambitious man, and he is dissatisfied. He's still not satisfied with whatever he has gotten, because he wants to secure that throne now. He wants to pass it down to his own children, to his own descendants, and for that, he will have to weed out his opponents. So, this soliloquy gives you and understanding of the character of Macbeth. So I hope you understood both of these segments. So, guys, I hope you got a lot of information from this video. I know it's a bit boring, but I'm just beginning, so cope with me. And I hope I will soon bring the next part of this sequence, which will be Act 3, Scene 1 itself, the conversation between Macbeth and the two murderers. And so, wait for that video. And till then, you can comment down below if you need the notes for this particular part, for any poem, story, etc., etc. And you can reach out to me in the comment section with your doubts, and wait for it, and we'll see you there.